So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with again the only other person up there being King Richardson.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit us.
We are never, ever, ever, ever getting rid of that clip.
Which one?
The last one. The one that you always laugh at.
It's so dumb.
I mean,
funny.
Now it is. Now it's stupid.
Who knows? Daniel Jones is hurt. Anthony Richardson can decide that he's just not going to become a rapper anymore. He's going to stick to what he got drafted for, to play quarterback. And he might.
Is Anthony Richardson doing the rap thing too?
I thought he was. I know he has a rap song out there.
Huh. That's news to me.
But yeah, no. My favorite thing about that is watching my beard progression in the videos.
Yeah, because it I believe those videos were clipped from as you were getting out of the service.
Mm-hmm. But sorry, the dog. If I don't fully shut the door, he knocks it open.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports here, where we apparently do a whole lot of BS. Didn't even get to the intro yet, 2 minutes into the show. I am your host, Ryan. Here with me, as always, is Mr. Jacob Krogan. On today's episodes, it's going to be strictly about tight ends, right? So we are going to wrap up our offseason preview, as well as dive into our Dynasty rankings at this point in time. Should be interesting. We're going to double dip tight ends here, and then we'll go back, through and continue our rankings. It's also the last time that I get to see Jake on camera before I get to see him in person. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, can't wait to do the golf trip with the boys there. So we will start with the off season. It's probably going to take us 15 minutes to talk about this.
Dude, honestly, this might just be a shorter show, just because honestly, who the fuck cares about tight ends? Unless it is the top 2.
My dinner just is sitting right here, fresh off of the stove. Literally 2 minutes before the show got done. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, nobody gives 2 shits about what we're dealing with here.
Oh, are we starting with you want to start with the rankings?
I mean, we could take it. I mean,
you put the banner up there. Let's start with the rankings. Top 12 Dynasty rankings. I have an honorable mention at 13, but so I will say that I had a couple different tiers here. I'm sure you did as well.
Oh yeah, no, I tiered it out, and honestly, outside of my top 8.
Dude, it's so funny that
you could throw anyone in there and just be like, okay, well, let's hope they score.
It's hilarious you chose the number 8, and I'm glad you said it before I did, because my thought as I was doing this was I want one of the top 8 tight ends, and that is it.
Yeah.
I was like, if I am relying on anybody else outside of the top 8 to be my weekly starter, I am totally screwed. Now, not in the sense of there's strategies where you can play matchups and you just draft a bunch of tight ends and pick a matchup for that week, which is fine. But if I draft, one of my 9 through 12 and try and rely on them week to week, I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for anybody wondering, and probably nobody is, why I'm bundled up here, it is Wintergeddon in the panhandle of Florida here.
How cold is it up there? How cold is it up there right now?
I mean, this morning it was 28 degrees, real feel of 14.
Dude, this morning here it was 73.
Man, it must be nice to be you.
Well, it peaked at 73 all day. It's going to get real cold tonight.
Yeah, no, it's freezing.
And my heat doesn't work, so.
Yeah, the heat didn't work at my office, so I was bundled up like this all day, and I'm still defrosting, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with my house being in the low 60s. That doesn't bother me. And the beauty of cinder block houses is they will retain heat.
That's true. But okay, let's
yeah,
get
so
into the S tier here. And I mean,
let's start from the bottom, right? Do we really need to sit here and talk about the S tier?
nah, that's why I was just going to jump into it real quick. I mean,
All right, yeah, fine. You win.
it doesn't matter to me.
Go
I mean, it's
for it.
McBride and Bowers, and you can argue that you could swap them, but right now it's McBride until we know who the fuck is calling offensive plays here for the Oakland Raiders.
Well,
Because-
hold up. If that's your logic, then we don't know who's calling plays for McBride either.
Well, I mean, he's proven it doesn't matter what play caller he has, he's going out there and balling.
In his defense, he's only had one play caller.
Zig, 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 zig.
I think that's Zach. I knew a guy named Zach spelled his name that way.
What a weird way to spell it. But congratulations on it. All the
But-
spams. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Bien? ¿Bien y tú?
All right. So
All
McBride
bots.
Bowers.
It's fine.
I will preface my side by saying that inside of the tiers, and this doesn't just go for tight ends, it goes for every position. Inside of the tiers, I'm not going to sit here and debate where people are ranked because I didn't rank them inside the tiers. You could jumble them up and I would just be like, yep, okay. I'm more concerned about like who's in the actual tiers themselves. I agree. There's only two names that belong in this tier. I wrote them down in McBride Bowers order. I do think Bowers is the better talent, but at this point, McBride's just getting force-fed the football, and that gap is not really that big anyway. For me, it would just come down to how many shares do I have of each in Dynasty, and I think I have 3 of McBride and 1 of Bowers right now, so that's it's about where I'm at with that.
Thanks, Gingy. Yeah, no. Bowers had less skill competition too, but just
Does he?
I think so. I mean, the Cardinals have Michael
Wilson.
Yeah, sorry, I kept wanting to say Jordan. I was like, that's not it. And Marvin Harrison Jr. on top of them wanting to run the ball, and Kyler who can't throw to anybody. So,
Well, Kyler only played 5 games last year.
was it only 5?
Yeah.
That checked out.
Yeah, Kyler only played 5 games. Marvin Harrison Jr. only played 12. And I would argue that Ashton Genty took more touches away from Bowers than Harrison and Wilson did from McBride.
Fair enough. I mean, to each their own. I have a few shares of both, so I'm not really worried about it. But we can get into the A tier if you want.
Yeah, S tier, obviously great to have. You know, set and forget. This next tier is kind of set and forget for me too. I have 2 tiers here. It's my next 3 names. You can order them however you want. I have Colston, Loveland, Tyler Warren, and Sam Laporta.
To me, my A tier goes all the way to 9, but realistically, it's 8 because George Kittle's getting older, and I only think he's got like 2 more years. But when he is on the field, he is electric right now.
And what is your anticipation for him with an Achilles tear now?
Oh, was it an Achilles?
Yeah.
Dude,
You could see it real time. I mean, his calf just popped.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully he comes back, but honestly, that's why I said 8 because that's where the real tier breakdown for me. But I could see Kittle just being there if he comes back healthy. Didn't know it was an Achilles tear there, so or ACL tear. What was it?
Achilles.
Achilles. Yeah, I didn't know it was Achilles tear. But to me, it's Kraft, Pitts, Warren, Loveland, Fannin, Laporta. You can put them any way you want. At the end of the day, you're happy to have any of those guys, and odds are they're going to give you 12 plus points, and that's what you want.
Yeah, it seems like, I'm just a tad higher on Laporta than you are. I do have him in a separate tier. points per game wise in tight end premium, tight end 4, tight end 8, tight end 7 in his 3 seasons. So he's just consistently producing, and he now gets the offensive coordinator that's been with Trey McBride his whole career.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it at all. But I mean, for me, a lot of it's going to come down to, I think this tier is going to shift, and it probably will. After next year, I'll have it divided, and that's fine. But for right now, Kraft's injured. Want to see it. Pitts is getting Stefanski, who I personally love, for him.
Not yet, he's not.
Whatever. See, I hate not having Twitter or X.
Pitts is a free agent, sir.
I think Stefanski's going to keep.
I would think so too, and I think that he stays. But it's something I've seen it a lot. People talking about the Stefanski Pitts pairing like marriage, and I really hope that happens. But I think we do need to recognize that it could also potentially not happen.
Or if he wants to come to Denver, I'll take that too. It's fine.
I hope he goes to the Rams.
That would be awesome. That would be dope. But then you got Warren Loveland, who had great rookie season, but I want to see him do it again. Warren kind of cooled off at the end. Loveland caught fire at the end. So I want to see consistency next year for them. Fannin just balled out consistently, even with shitty quarterback play. Loved seeing it, and I have 0 shares, but I know you were high on him and you probably got a few shares of him.
I have 1 share of him. I actually have 1 share of Bowers, 1 share of Loveland, and 1 share of Fannin, and it's all in the same league, which is good because I do have Rashee Rice in that league, so I'm anticipating that I'll have to start the season flexing 2 tight ends while starting another one, which I'm totally okay with.
Not the worst thing in the world.
No. Yeah, Fannin was seeing a ton of volume in that offense, which, makes sense. Their wide receiver room's horrible. Shedeur Sanders was very boom or bust.
Hey, Pro Bowler, Shedeur Sanders. Don't disrespect him.
That's just embarrassing, man. Is that greater than or worse than the year Tyler Huntley was named to the Pro Bowl?
I think it's on the same chopping block. But, I mean, it just goes to show the injuries and the players that don't want to play and how irrelevant the Pro Bowl is anymore.
Which stinks. Who I feel bad for? Offensive linemen, because Pro Bowl voting was, at least a decent portion of like their Hall of Fame resume, because there aren't any statistics really to measure their performance against outside of like games played, sacks allowed, and pancake blocks. So Pro Bowls, all pros, those that really mattered for those guys, and essentially the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, no, it's just rough. They need to find a way to make it matter again.
I have an idea. Get the best players on the field and have them play a damn football game again in Hawaii.
Yeah, but it has to matter. Like the winning side has to get like each player gets $1 million or something. Like you got to give them an incentive.
Do what baseball used to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Winner gets a Super Bowl home field advantage.
See, but I was thinking you could totally do that for like the championship games. So like you get the extra day of rest. So whichever division wins plays that Saturday for the AFC Championship or something like that.
The Pro Bowl takes place after the – are you talking about for the next season?
Yeah, for the next year.
I think that the winner of the Pro Bowl, that team – it's funny because if your rival's in the Super Bowl, you're probably going to want to lose the Pro Bowl and totally screw them over.
Right. But, I mean, just food for thought.
But, yeah, so my A tier part 2 is Fannin Jr., Pitts, and Kraft. I do have Kraft. I strategically put Kraft at the bottom just because he is coming off the injury.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, that's the last of the names that I would, very much be okay just sitting in my lineup, forgetting. I traded for Kraft earlier in the offseason. I sent the 109, the 202, and a third for Kraft in the 205. So
Not terrible.
No.
I
had Pitts
just
in
think of
that
the
league,
one
too.
trade I made. I had held on to Kyle Pitts in auto since the dawn of time. He was an auto pick for me, and I kept it. And I finally traded him to Monty, who proceeded to use him to beat me in the playoffs.
Was that his 50-point week?
Yep. Yeah, it was his 50-point week. And Monty proceeded to beat me by 0.2, 0.3 points.
Oh, I do remember that. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
But not only that, I traded him before the season started. I traded him in my first for Matthew Golden and Ricky Parcell.
So after my Kraft year, I'm just, it sucks, man. It really does suck. Sometimes you take risks on guys and it just doesn't work out.
Yep.
There have been tons of trades where within 2 years, the side that I received has absolutely no value and are not producing, and the side that I sent is fantastic.
Yeah.
So after that tier, I have a tier of 3. I have Jake Ferguson, Dalton Kincaid, and Rondé Gadsden. Jake Ferguson got really hot in the beginning of the season and then was really not the latter half of the season.
I mean, Dak was having to, feed 2 drama queens. And Jake Ferguson was the victim here.
I noticed you left Kincaid out.
I did, because when I think about it, Kincaid hasn't done anything special. Injured. And the guy I swapped him with was Juwan Johnson, who has shown potential constantly. Yes, he's crazy older, but he finally got a healthy season in an offense, and he went nuts. And Kellen Moore in his offense has used the tight end a good bit. So I like him over Kincaid.
I had a stat particularly highlighted for Dalton Kincaid. I forget where I put it, but my big beefs with Dalton Kincaid are 1, the injury history, right? Seems like he's hurt all the time. 2, he's only going to play 60 to 65% of the snaps every game. He's not like your true 3-down tight end, inline blocker, can do it all kind of deal. And it's hurting his fantasy production. That's what it was. He was I think top 5 in red zone targets and for tight ends or something like that. I don't remember what the stat was. I had something and I didn't write it on the sheet, and I'm real irritated with myself now that I was reading. But yeah, he sees a bunch of red zone targets, which obviously is great for his, touchdown ratio. But at the end of the day, he's not really converting on them because Josh Allen and James Cook are mostly vulturing the touchdowns in the red zone. Yeah, I do think that he's, hovering around that breakout range, right? Like he does have the first round draft capital. He's tied to a good team. They are getting a new coaching staff, so maybe they potentially change the way that they run their offense. But I think for me, he's always going to be on that teeter of high-end tight end 2 production. I just feel like that between him and the other guys I could put there's more likely of a chance that he breaks out than the other guys.
I concur.
And then you don't have a Rondé Gadsden on here either.
I don't. I want to see some consistency. There's a lot of question marks, but also with the possible hiring, not hiring of Mike McDaniels, we'll see how that works. But he can easily, like I said, next year, climb up on here. And I do see Dalton Schultz, my Mr. Irrelevant, my ride or die for every tight end ranking that we've had since the dawn of time. Mr. Consistency, 5 of the last 6 years, has been a top 12 tight end. And I just got to keep giving it to him till he's dead.
Yeah, he's in there for me as well. Well, he rounds out my top 12. I did not put George Kittle in my top 12. At this point, he's 32 years old, going to be 33 going to be playing half a season and probably not producing for you the other half, and then he's going to be 34 years old, and it's like really how much left in the tank does he have, particularly for his style of football. When he's healthy, when he's on the field, I'm sure he's going to produce. But that's kind of how we felt about Travis Kelce the last 2 years, is except Travis Kelce didn't come with a major injury setback. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but and Jawan Johnson, I mean, I don't hate Jawan Johnson. If I had a tight end 14, I probably would have put him there. The guy who I had with Dalton Schultz was Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Coming off just an outstanding season where he scored a bunch of touchdowns. I don't have the number off the top of my head. So between Schultz and Goddard, I just kind of flipped the coin, and I was like, well, Goddard's a free agent. Schultz isn't. He's still got one more year left on a team that I don't think does anything drastic to improve their pass catching room. They might go get, a better running back, but I think they're mainly going to be focused on the offensive line and, maybe some defensive reinforcements, but they don't need pass catching help. So that rounds out my top 12. Again, McBride, Bowers, Loveland, Warren, Laporta, Fannin Jr., Kyle Pitts, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Kincaid, Aronde Gadsden, and Dalton Schultz.
Sounds good to me, brother.
What is yours? You want to round it out, and then we can talk about the offseason people?
Rounding it out, McBride, Bowers, Kraft, Pitts, Warren, Loveland, Fannin, Laporta, Kittle, Ferguson, Jawan Johnson, Dalton Kincaid, or Dalton Schultz.
You want to hear something wild?
I love hearing wild things.
Do you want to know who the tight end 20 was in points per game this year? With 11.1 points per game in tight end premium.
Evan Ingram. I don't know.
No. Albert O, who played 46% of the snaps in one game, had 5 catches for 36 yards for 11.1 fantasy points in tight end premium.
Albert Obu.
Yes,
Wait,
that Albert O.
That guy?
That guy.
Love that guy. Great guy.
He's a Raider now.
He can burn in hell. No,
so let's talk about the offseason real quick. We've already kind of mentioned a couple. So the free agency, free agents. Travis Kelce's technically a free agent. I think a lot of people assume he's going to retire. If he doesn't, I don't think that he even hits free agency. Do you think he retires?
I do. I don't think he has anything to prove. I think Mahomes won't be back till later in the season, and he should have went out the year prior, but he didn't want to go out on a Super Bowl loss.
I could see him trying to give it one more run, especially if the Chiefs have some inside information on what's going on with Rashee Rice, and you're like, hey man, we need you just for this year. Help us get through the season, and then we'll call it a day. So I actually took him. I'm in another startup, but in my last startup, 2 or 3 episodes ago that I was drafting on, I actually took him in the 21st round. It's a PPR 1.0 tight end premium. I'm like, this late in the draft, what do I have to lose? I'm probably getting a top 5 tight end if he shows up again. So felt like that was a pretty good bet.
Fair enough.
The next name, David Njoku. Then we have Dallas Goedert, the aforementioned Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely, Cade Otton, and then Mark Andrews, who was a free agent. However, he signed a 3-year, $39 million extension with the Ravens, which does have implications for Isaiah Likely. So we'll get to that. David Njoku leaving the Cleveland Browns. I would assume he's not going to go back. What if he went to Atlanta?
That'd be fun.
Chase Stefanski. Any tight end that goes to Atlanta is going to be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild free agency for the running backs and the tight ends specifically. So I'm kind of excited for March to see what brings.
Yeah, we are. I just looked up the other day. I think we're 44 days away from free agency.
Nice.
So getting real close. The countdown is on. And then we're 80 some days till the draft too. Getting real close. But yeah, I think tight end free agency is probably going to be one of the more fun. That and running back, like you said. Dallas Goedert, I think he returns to Philadelphia. I think they find a way to make it happen. If he doesn't, though, I do feel like he's probably going to be one of just the more consistent tight ends in the NFL. I do think that his production this season was largely inflated due to touchdowns. How you feeling about Dallas Goedert? Do you have a perfect landing spot for him?
Perfect landing spot? I do not. Honestly, him at Philly just sounds right. But doesn't he have injury concerns?
He's like missed a couple games here and there.
Yeah, I don't know where he'd go.
15 games this year, 10 last year, 14 the year before, 12 the year before that, 15 the year before that, 11 the year before that. So, I mean, yeah.
He'll miss a few games.
Yeah, but given how crappy the tight end market is, he'll still be valuable.
But, yeah, no, I got nowhere good for him. Honestly, like I said, doing tight end rankings are so rough because you just
outside of the top 8, really, it just
crapshoot.
Yep. Give me like 4 of those guys, and I'll figure it out throughout the week.
Exactly.
Who I want to play, what the matchup is, that kind of deal. Like, I'd be totally okay if my tight end room was Dallas Goedert, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and David Njoku. Like that would be fine.
Yeah.
I could probably get low end tight end 1 numbers on a weekly basis between playing the matchups there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Kyle Pitts, who is probably the best name on this list. I think he returns to Atlanta. We kind of talked about that when we were talking about, our top 12 tight end rankings. Got anything else to add for Mr. Pitts?
No, I'm just excited for him to, the young 24-year-old, even though it seems like Kyle Pitts has been here for forever. He's coming into his own. I think he's finally figuring it out. We know the talent's there. Just can he get in an offense that will utilize it?
Yeah, we got to remember that tight end generally has a late breakout age, 26, 27 historically. I know the last couple of years we've kind of had some outliers to that, and maybe that just is the tables turning on the tight end position. You're starting to see it utilized more and more in college, and we'll get to that here when we talk about our college prospects in a second. So maybe there is something to that. Nonetheless, Kyle Pitts, like you said, only 24 years old, had a great rookie season, just had a fantastic season this past year. I'm curious to see who the quarterback is in Atlanta too. I wonder if it's Mr. Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix or whatever that is.
I think with what they're paying Kirk Cousins, it's going to be him.
I think it's Kirk O'Chains as well. And I think if he's playing well, he doesn't give that job back.
No, not at all. But I think they want give Penix another year, learn a new system, and then once Kirk's contract's up, he'll be fully healthy. Give him one more shot before you go drafting again.
Yeah. Kate Otten kind of been a non-factor for me my entire time in fantasy, but I did put him on here. Respect. Isaiah Likely has always been an interesting one. I've never really liked Isaiah Likely's price tag. People have always kind of had him at a much higher value, a huge what-if scenario, and that what-if scenario may finally come true, this offseason. But I've seen him like as high as like tight end 9 on Keep Trade Cut at certain points in his career, and I'm like, this guy's a backup.
Yeah, no, he is, and it's insane. That's what this world has come to.
Do you think there's, any hope that he can be a top 12 tight end or?
No, there's too much talent there, too much stuff. Maybe if Godwin's gone and if Evans is gone, maybe.
We're talking about Likely.
Oh, thought we were talking about Otten. Sorry.
No.
My bad. That's awkward.
I transitioned from Otten to Likely because I realized I missed Likely.
See, and I just thought we were skipping until we went to Andrews, but fair enough. Isaiah Likely has a lot of potential, but needs to stay healthy. And once again, he is the he's still an unknown. He has a lot of potential, but he's got to go on an offense that fits his athletic tight end because he's not a strong blocker. And so, yeah.
That rounds out the free agents. Cool. There's only one draft prospect I really feel like there's worth talking about. That is Mr. Kenyon Sadiq, who in a lot of mocks that I've been hearing is the 106, maybe 107. Potentially on your tight end premium could be higher, but I'm not really buying that. Very, very, very athletic tight end. He's also very young too. I think he's 20 through the draft. I don't think he turns 21 until May. Obviously played with Dante Moore up there in Oregon. And again, just great athleticism. He's a good inline blocker. He has that Kyle Pitts, Colston Loveland kind of like prototype to him. I don't think he's necessarily as good a prospect, obviously not as Pitts, but I don't think he's as good of a prospect as Loveland is either. So, but I could definitely see him, in the right landing spot, making an immediate impact in the top 12 tight end rankings. I do feel like that he's somebody who has the potential in the next year or two to break my top 12.
Yeah, and that's a safe bet. And yeah, there's really no tight end prospects as of right now that stand out except for him. But I mean, the other two that you have, they're interesting for sure. And I mean, honestly, we can talk about them real quick. You have Eli Stowers here and Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg played at Baylor, and Baylor's quarterback was terrible, but he still managed to get 50 receptions and almost 700 yards and 6 touchdowns, which for tight ends in 12 games, that's pretty impressive. He was averaging almost 14 yards a catch. So that's good. Athletic, good size, 6'4", 240, things like that. And so I love the possibilities, but once again, just going to have to go through, see everything. And then Eli Stowers, consistent. Back-to-back years. He also had the Heisman runner-up in however the heck you say it.
Diego Pavia.
Pavia, yeah. But consistent. He had 49 catches for 640 yards, averaged 13 yards a catch and 5 touchdowns last year. And then this year he had 62 catches for almost 800 yards, averaging 12.4 and 4 touchdowns. And so consistency's there, which I like to see. He's catching a ton of balls from a great offense that was Vandy. And so he's a fun little one to just keep an eye out, probably get him in the second round, third round, depending on where he's drafted. But
yeah, I don't mind Stowers. He's not as athletic as you would like. I think he's a bit bigger of a guy, but
they're
I think
all the
same. What's up?
They're all the same.
Really?
Actually, they're all 6'4" except Kenyon, and they're all within 10 pounds of each other.
Yeah, Stowers is the biggest one, I think, right?
No, Stowers is the smallest, actually.
Is he? Okay, yeah, maybe I had that backwards then. Yeah, I don't think that he's really as athletic as Sadiq is, though. But I don't think there's anything wrong with him per se. Kind of prototypes more as like an inline tight end. And I think in the right system, the right scheme with the right quarterback, he can, probably be a decent tight end too, in his fantasy career. And then Michael Trigg's really intriguing because he's just like raw upside. He's all athleticism and no like real tight end, savviness to him. He's not like a fantastic route runner. He was a target hog at Baylor though, so that's good for him. But I still have to do a little bit more digging on Michael Trigg. But one of the things that stood out to me was how raw he was and how athletic he is. So maybe he sits a couple years and translates to something in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Tight end. What a shit show.
Yeah, honestly, the fact that we were able to talk for 35 minutes on it
is impressive. Yeah. Well, I've got nothing else to add tonight. Do you?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.